In a world torn by doubt and struggle, where souls wandered lost in darkness, a man arose with a heart ablaze for mercy and truth. Born into nobility, yet drawn to the humble path of service, Alphonsus Maria de Liguori defied the expectations of his time. With courage as his shield and faith as his sword, he set out on a daring journey, not to conquer lands, but to conquer hearts. This is the story of a fearless shepherd, a tireless defender of the poor and forgotten, and a beacon of hope whose light still shines across the centuries. Join me as we embark on the epic adventure of the life, struggles, and miracles of Saint Alphonsus, a true hero of the Church. Chapter 1. The Early Years. A Spark Ignited. In the vibrant city of Naples, on a chilly September day in 1696, a boy was born who would change the course of countless lives. Alphonsus Maria de Liguori entered the world amidst noble splendor, destined for a life that many envied. But his heart beat to a different rhythm. From the very beginning, Alphonsus was no ordinary child. Behind the polished manners and brilliant mind lay a restless spirit, a flame waiting to burst into a blazing fire of faith and courage. Raised in a wealthy family, Alphonsus had access to the finest education. As a young boy, he showed astonishing intelligence and a remarkable memory that impressed even his most demanding tutors. But what truly distinguished him was his sense of justice and mercy. While other children dreamed of power and fame, Alphonsus's dreams reached beyond earthly glory. He pondered the fate of the poor, the suffering, and the forgotten souls around him. Naples was a city of contrasts, dazzling wealth side by side with crushing poverty, elegant palaces overshadowing narrow, dark alleys. Alphonsus saw it all with clear eyes, and his heart could not accept the suffering of the helpless. This awareness grew into a fierce compassion, a deep desire to serve those whom society ignored. Despite his brilliance in law and the bright future that awaited him in the courts, Alphonsus felt a pull stronger than ambition or family expectations. The whispers of a higher calling tugged at his soul. The path ahead was uncertain, filled with sacrifice and trials that no noble upbringing could prepare him for. But Alphonsus was not a man to shy away from challenge. The spark within him grew into a flame, fueled by prayer and an unshakable resolve. His journey was about to begin. A journey that would test his courage, stretch his faith, and shape him into one of the greatest champions of the Church. The boy from Naples was no longer content with a life of ease. He was ready to become a warrior of mercy, a beacon of hope for the lost. And so, the epic tale of Saint Alphonsus Maria de Liguori unfolded, a tale of daring faith, relentless service, and a heart on fire for the redemption of souls. Chapter 2. From lawyer to shepherd, the call to serve. Alphonsus had every reason to follow a life of comfort and prestige. As a brilliant young lawyer, his future seemed destined for courts filled with power and influence. His sharp mind, quick wit, and deep understanding of justice earned him respect and admiration. Yet, beneath the surface of this promising career, a different calling stirred, a call that no honor or riches could satisfy. The law was a noble profession, but Alphonsus felt its limits. He saw how many who sought justice were left broken and hopeless, their souls untouched by the cold verdicts of the courts. The law could judge, but it could not heal. And so, the gentle whisper of a higher purpose grew louder within him. At the age of 25, Alphonsus made a decision that shocked many. He would leave behind the world of law and embrace the life of a priest. It was a choice that baffled his family and friends, who saw it as a step down from greatness. But Alphonsus saw it as a step closer to true service, to a mission that demanded courage far beyond courtroom battles. His journey into the priesthood was not easy. The road was steep, filled with challenges that tested his resolve. Alphonsus studied theology with the same dedication he had given to law, yet his studies were accompanied by deep moments of prayer and self-reflection. He sought not only knowledge, but the strength to carry the burdens of those he would serve. Ordained as a priest, Alphonsus did not rest. He ventured into the streets and villages where the poor and forgotten lived. He preached with passion, his words igniting hope in hearts that had long been crushed by despair. He became a shepherd not of flocks in distant pastures, but of souls wandering in darkness, offering them the light of faith and mercy. This calling brought him into conflict with those who preferred to ignore the suffering around them. Alphonsus faced opposition, skepticism, and sometimes outright hostility. Yet, his courage never faltered. With each challenge, his faith grew stronger, his mission clearer. He was not just a priest. He was a warrior of the Spirit, fighting to bring the love of God to the most abandoned. This was the true beginning of Alphonsus's adventure, one of sacrifice, bravery, and unwavering dedication. His choice to leave behind a life of privilege for one of service was the first step toward a legacy that would inspire generations. Chapter 3. Founding the Congregation of the Most Holy Redeemer, a mission born of fire. The flame in Alphonsus's heart was not meant to flicker quietly. It demanded action, bold and unyielding. As he journeyed through the rugged towns and forgotten villages of southern Italy, he saw countless souls lost in despair. People abandoned not only by society, but often forgotten by the church itself. They were the poor, the outcasts, the sinners whom no one dared to reach. It was here, amidst this harsh reality, that Alphonsus felt the call to found something extraordinary. A congregation dedicated entirely to preaching the mercy of God, to bringing hope to the hopeless and salvation to the lost. This was no small dream. It was a mission born of fire, a sacred vow to reach the most abandoned with compassion and courage. In 1732, against the odds and facing fierce opposition, Alphonsus established the Congregation of the Most Holy Redeemer, the Redemptorists. The journey was far from easy. Critics doubted the boldness of his vision, priests and bishops questioned his methods, and the harsh realities of poverty threatened to crush his spirit. Yet Alphonsus never wavered. He led his brothers with a fiery zeal, pushing forward into the darkest corners where others feared to tread. Their mission was clear: to live simply, preach boldly, and serve relentlessly. They became wandering missionaries, traveling from village to village, often facing danger, rejection, and hardship. Through their work, the Redemptorists brought a new light to the forgotten. Alphonsus's sermons stirred the hearts of the poor, calling them back from the edge of despair. He taught that God's mercy was boundless, and that no soul was beyond redemption. His writings and homilies became a beacon of hope, challenging the church and the world to embrace a deeper compassion. The founding of the Redemptorists was not just the birth of a religious order. It was the birth of a movement, a revolution of mercy fueled by faith and courage. Alphonsus's vision reshaped the church's mission, reminding all that the greatest heroes are those who serve the least. Chapter 4. Trials and Triumphs, Miracles, and the Making of a Saint. Alphonsus's path was anything but smooth. The fires of faith that burned within him were tested time and again by storms of opposition, illness, and deep personal struggles. Yet, through every trial, he emerged stronger, his spirit forged in the crucible of hardship. As the Redemptorists grew, so did the challenges. Alphonsus faced criticism not only from secular authorities, but even within the church. His teachings on moral theology, his insistence on God's mercy over strict judgment, stirred controversy. Yet, he stood firm, knowing that true justice flows from love and forgiveness. Beyond words and teachings, miracles began to follow him, signs of divine favor and confirmation of his sacred mission. Stories spread of Alphonsus's prayers healing the sick, comforting the troubled, and even calming storms both literal and spiritual. These wonders did not make him proud. They only deepened his humility and resolve to serve. His writings became a treasure trove of spiritual wisdom, guiding countless souls toward repentance and peace. Alphonsus's approach was revolutionary. He combined deep compassion with clear, courageous truth. It was this balance that earned him the title Doctor of the Church, a recognition reserved for the greatest minds and hearts of Christian faith. But perhaps the greatest miracle was his own transformation, a man born into privilege, choosing a life of sacrifice and service, shining as a beacon of hope. Alphonsus's journey from noble youth to holy shepherd inspired many to follow in his footsteps, carrying forward the flame of mercy he ignited. Through every hardship and victory, Alphonsus embodied the adventure of faith, one that challenges, humbles, and ultimately redeems. His life was a testament that sainthood is not the absence of struggle, but the triumph over it through unwavering love. Chapter 5: Legacy of Light, the Saint Who Never Fades. As the years passed, Alphonsus Maria de Liguori's earthly journey neared its close, but the fire he had kindled burned brighter than ever. His life's work, the Congregation of the Most Holy Redeemer, continued to grow, spreading the message of mercy and hope far beyond the borders of Italy. His writings, sermons, and example became a guiding light for generations searching for a path to God's love. In the quiet moments before his passing, Alphonsus reflected on the adventure that had defined his life. From the noble halls of Naples to the humble villages of the forgotten, his journey had been marked by courage, sacrifice, and unwavering faith. He had faced storms that could have broken lesser souls, yet his heart remained steadfast, filled with a boundless compassion for all. Alphonsus's miracles and teachings echoed long after his death in 1787, inspiring countless believers. In 1839, the Church recognized his holiness by declaring him a saint and later a doctor of the Church, titles that honor his profound influence on Christian theology and spirituality. But beyond titles and honors, Alphonsus's true legacy is found in the lives he touched, the poor comforted, sinners forgiven, and souls uplifted by his message of divine mercy. His story reminds us that greatness is not measured by wealth or power, but by the courage to serve and the love that drives us to bring light into darkness. Today, Saint Alphonsus Maria de Liguori stands as a timeless hero, a warrior of mercy, a shepherd of souls, and a beacon of hope whose flame never fades. His adventure continues in the hearts of all who dare to follow his path, embracing faith as a bold and fearless journey.